Good morning, Mr. Rabbit. Remember, Generals, the rules of war. So, today we're at Manaflux, Newcastle-under-Lyme, again in sunny Staffordshire. And I have with me General Zaz today, there he is. And we're going to be playing Kings of War by Mantic Games. And it's going to be a fantasy battle to the death, duel to the death. Is it a duel? That's actually, it's not a duel so much, is it? When there's a lot of people. A clash, a battle, what do we call it?
Yeah, I think a clash at this
A clash. We'll call it a clash at this scale. Good. So we're going to be playing 2,250 points, which allows you to get a good 2,000 point army and get some characters, etc. So General Zaz is going to be playing a legion of elves. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I am going to be playing the undead. So I'm going to go through the undead armies first. And then we'll look at the setup of the board and what we're going to be playing for. So here we are. We'll do the characters first. We've got a Revenant King on a winged beast, which is a Pegasus model. I like that one. That's from Reaper. I like that model. We've got a. Is it a bit cheesy? I may have to admit it. This is a mummy character with the wings of the honeybee, so he can fly about, being an utter nuisance to flying units, war machines, etc. We then have a Lycanus, essentially the werewolf character model, and then two magic users. I think magic users are very important in an undead army. So we've got this horrific looking creature here. Look at him. And he is a leash king, and he is going to be a necromancer. There he is. He looks a bit dead for a necromancer, but a necromancer he is. Then on to kind of the main body of my infantry. I'm going to be using a legion of zombies. That's essentially a hell of a lot of points of damage, of wounds for an enemy to dislodge and kill that unit. Not very offensive, but hey ho, there we are. A legion, so not a legion, a horde of skeleton spearmen to help against cavalry. And also they get extra attacks, which is also useful. Mummies, I love the videos of Holy Diver, and he likes mummies, so I'm taking a regiment of mummies. And also I feel a bit bad about taking a mummy character and not having mummies, so I like to stay a little bit characterful to what I'm doing. Then our first unit of cavalry here is we're going to be using these as blood. What are they called? They're called Soul Reavers, that's right. They're essentially vampire cavalry, very, very offensive, very aggressive type of cavalry. And they're going to be flanked by another type of cavalry, which is kind of the lighter, but no less useful because of the surge rule that can be used with them. The Revenant cavalry, essentially whites on horseback. And also, when I use them as cavalry, they're not cavalry, but I use them as cavalry and to support the cavalry. The very nimble werewolves, which are very aggressive. They're not quite as hard as as these units because the armour's not quite as good. But that doesn't really matter. They're very nimble and they hit very hard, and they've got a very long charge range, so that's very useful. So to support those units, I've got two troops of ghouls which will go out in front, scout ahead for me. Unlike a lot of my army, they can kind of move like normal people, so they can march and don't need assistance from magic users to put them forward on the battlefield. So I'll use them to move forward under their own steam, as it were. And they can also be useful as chaff units to draw charges from your enemy. They can be quite pesky if they get around the corners and into the sides of enemies as well. And Bane chant them to give extra strength in their attack. And then finally a troop of Rays, just because I love Rays. I love their ability to fly about and cause trouble. They have saved me many times from enemy flying units as well. Their ability to just turn around, go a good distance because they're nimble, and then be surged into an enemy that's got behind my lines has saved me many times. So I'll be using them. So on to General Zaz's army. Okay, good. So, General Zaz, what's your... We'll start on the far left. Very good.
This unit here is a unit of Kindred Tall Spears,
Good,
which
good.
are a basic elven block unit. They're reasonable in melee, reasonable in defence. Like all elves, they are elite. So
you re-roll the ones to hit, do
a
they?
little bit more accurate,
Okay.
that's right, than most other races, but pretty much standard for how tough they are, how
Yeah.
good their defence is.
Yeah. Good.
Next to those, we have the Palace Guard. These are slightly harder hitting. The models here have great weapons to represent that. They're more accurate, just as tough though, and they have crushing strength, which means that in melee they're more likely to damage. Next to the Palace Guard we have here Stormwind Cavalry. Again,
frightening.
Like all elves, they're
Yep.
quite elite. These guys hit very hard, about the same as the Palace Guard, but are much, much faster as cavalry.
Yeah.
And actually have more attacks, tougher in defence as well. That's why there's only 10 of them.
Yeah.
Here we have Thrennen and Sea Guard. These are the last of my regiments, and these are basically tall spears with bows.
That's cheating. Are they allowed to do such a thing?
They are indeed.
Oh my goodness, so
And
they can do
both
anything.
Units that are armed with spears, the Thrennen and Sea Guard,
Uh-huh.
and the tall spears have the phalanx rule, meaning they can take a charge slightly better.
Ah, yes, the extra strength from furious charge isn't applied to them, is it?
Correct.
Excellent.
We have 2 units here of Kindred Archers.
Right, they look like smaller units, so
Yeah.
are they troops?
They are indeed
Yeah.
2 troops units, designed to harass and harangue a little bit.
Okay.
And after the last time we played, I thought 2 small units would be able to shoot better than 1 big one.
Yes, and I think
Even though they will break more.
That's right, but it also stops me kind of charging individual characters in and stopping so many shots. Because you've still got another unit to do it with, so no, I see the logic there.
We have Kindred Glade Stalkers here with the green
Glade
cloak.
Stalker. What's a Glade Stalker?
Glade Stalkers are elite elves that specialise in going through forests. To represent this, they have the Pathfinder and Vanguard rule, meaning that basically they ignore cover.
Oh my goodness. And are they close combat or are they a missile troop?
They're actually pretty good at both.
Okay.
They have missiles with 24-inch range,
Uh-huh.
and they have a good melee of 4 and 8 attacks, which is reasonable.
It is.
And just in case they do get charged, they have a brew of strength.
Ah, good. So they've had their Weetabix.
Yeah.
Good.
Now here we have 2 units. Again, these are harassing units of Silver Breeze Cavalry. These
Ah,
are shooting cavalry.
very nimble.
Very nimble, reasonable, mediocre in combat.
Mediocre in combat, yes.
But again, very good at harassing.
So they're a skirmishing unit, aren't they?
Yes, with the nimble rule, they're more manoeuvrable
Yeah.
than standard.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Over here, we have a bolt thrower, which hopefully shall take down some of Andy's heavy units. Then we have our characters, our
Excellent.
heroes. We have 2 Dragon Kindred Lords.
Oh, on the dragons.
Yeah,
Look at that, Generals. That is an intimidating sight, is it not?
2 dragons.
Oh my goodness.
Both with the inspiring rule, of course. Nimble, elite, fly, crushing strength and breath attacks. And then we have 2 elven mages as well.
Ah, so what do they do?
Well,
Throw fireballs and lightning bolts about, do they?
the main thing is they have healing spells, which are extremely useful.
Oh, so they've got some unguents and ointments that they rub into people's tired muscles,
Yep.
and it makes them better, does it?
It does indeed.
It's all about the unguents.
But they also do both have a fireball as well.
Ah, good. So they've got some aggression, some offence as well.
Yeah.
Great, good. Is that the entire army?
That is indeed.
Very good. So good. We'll come back after we work out what we're going to do, what our objectives are. Here, Generals, we see the prize. We see the magical energy, the pyres of force over which we will fight today. These are the objectives for pillage. We've rolled to play pillage, and we've rolled, what was it, D3 plus 4 objectives. We've rolled 5 objectives in all. So we've rolled off, and I'm going to place the first one, and I'm going to place the first objective. I mean, I don't know the rules, General Zaz, but I'm assuming you can't put them like 6 inches in your own. I can't just put them on my board edge and be beardy about it, can I? I've got to put them on. But I'm going to put, whatever happens, I'm going to put the first one. There we are. I'm going to put it right in there. I'll put them in these woods here, like that. There you go.
Anywhere on the battlefield, as long as they're 12 inches away from each other.
Excellent. So I'm going to put the first one in the middle, in those woods there. Okay, there. Would you like to take one?
And just to make my opponent really uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's what he likes to do. He loves making me uncomfortable. He does.
I'm actually going to place one objective right here, on his side in open ground.
What is he doing? Why is he doing that? Generals, what is he doing? Yes, sometimes you worry that your enemy has a plan, don't you? Don't you, Generals? Okay, it's my turn. What's he expecting me to do? I don't know. Another one? No, I'm going to put it... Are you allowed to put it in terrain pieces? Mm-hmm. Good, so I'm going to put one there. Okay. Is that 12 inches apart from the other one? There. And there's a bit further apart, just like that. Okay, good. It's about right, isn't it?
Yep.
Good. So far, that's there, and there. I'm just going to come back so people can see the whole table. Okay. Good. So can you point to the ones that have been laid already?
One here.
One there. One
here.
That's it. Brilliant. And one right in my zone there. Good.
One here.
Very good.
And the last one.
The last one. I shall put.
Just make it 12.
I'm putting these woods here. There we go. I don't know why. There's no rhyme or reason, Generals. No rhyme or reason. Here is the field as it looks at the beginning of the game after setup. You can see that we've put a lot of terrain down. We've got the hedges, it's just difficult to go over. We will look at the sizes. General Zaz, what size of the difficult terrain piece is going to be? That's going to be useful and important, isn't it? So we're going to have, what, size 3 for the woods?
Yep.
Size 3 for the big buildings?
I agree.
I think, and to be honest, most of the stuff here is size 3, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's very tall.
Which is size
1, I think that's fair enough, yeah.
And the marsh will have a size 1 as well.
I think that's absolutely fair. It's nice and simple too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that. Good. So tell me your thoughts behind your setting up. Obviously, holding back any tactical secrets from me, of course.
My thoughts behind setting up, first off, were I wanted some big heavy hitting units.
Yep.
And I wanted to make sure that these had good flexibility and movement, so they're probably closer to the centre of my line.
Right.
Other than that, I had a lot of small, cheap, what we call chaff drops.
Yeah, people call them chaff drops, don't they? Yes.
Which basically what that allows me to do is it prompts Andy into setting up faster than me in a way. Because he's got more big, dedicated units to do things.
True. Make me show my hand earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. If I can come in front of you, I'll go and show my line. So good, good. So, and you've got compact parts of your line and very movable parts of your line as well, whereas I've just gone very compact. As you'll see, look, Generals there, look at all that space there. Look at all that space there. I've not even deployed in it. So, you know, we'll see how that works. Obviously, my stuff shambles. It's slow. So it needs to be surged. So I have to keep everything quite close together so that I have the tactical flexibility with use of my characters later, so that they can move properly. So that's good. So what we'll do is we'll roll for turn 1 and we'll come back to you at the end of turn 1.
Let's get a 6-inch Vanguard move.
This is, indeed, I forgot the Vanguard move. So there we go. General Zaz is going to do his Vanguard move now. That's your...
Which brings these nicely.
And what are they? Your evil Glade Stalkers?
Yep, these are my Glade Stalkers. So before the game begins, the Vanguard move allows me to scout a unit ahead. Which in this case is my Glade Stalkers.
Yes, we see the hordes of the goody elves coming forwards. Here they are. So what have you done, Zaz? You've come forward with your dragon.
I've come forward with my dragons.
The Starbreeze Cavalry.
Yep. And all my cavalry's come forward.
Yep.
My melee units have actually marched forwards.
Yep.
My archers have spread, slowly flanking round.
Yep. Just getting into position, and then those guys actually shot, didn't they?
Yeah.
Those, what were they? They were the Starbreeze.
Yeah, these guys shot. Sadly, nothing else was within 24 yet.
Ah, so they shot at the skeletons and sadly did no damage.
Yeah.
But the bolt thrower over there hit once, get 2 shots, and did 3 wounds to the zombie. The zombie legion there. Good. So there we go. So it's my turn 1. There we go. We'll probably come back at the. I mean, I don't have much shooting, so we'll probably.
I should imagine everything's just going to be shambling forwards.
That's right. That's it. It'll be the end of my turn 1. We'll see you next, and we'll miss you until then. Here, generals, I take a rare visit to the other side, to my enemy's area. Oh my goodness, to show you the sneaky mummy that's come up with the wings of the honey maze from behind there. It wasn't actually, it looks far away, it's not actually that far away because it was right hunkered up behind that there secret grotto. See the secret grotto? There he was. He's hunkered up there, so hopefully nothing will have an archer shooting on him next turn, and then he can start to munch on the line from Zaz's right, my left next turn. In the meantime, I have sent my Revenant King on his winged beast up to the left to hide like a very brave knight behind a wood. Then in the meantime, I'm just going to run right round. Oh, it keeps you fit, this generalship, I tell you, generals, it does. I have started to move essentially a cavalry force of soul reavers and my werewolves up my left, and I've shielded them with my unit of ghouls. So these guys haven't quite gone as far as they could, but I thought it's worth it because they're a little bit shielded by the ghouls at least. I've also surged Revenant Cavalry up from the right where they were deployed there, using the Lich King and the Necromancer there to help support that charge if that comes. The zombies I've moved up, I've decided not to charge them at the moment because essentially I don't like the fact that Zaz has got so much infantry there. It's just going to multiply charge my horde, my legion, and it's going to bring it down. So I think I'm just happy with it getting shot at for the moment. So yes, and also it's a nice big block to stop his dragons charging into my centre. So at least I've got something to resist with later in the game there, because essentially when his dragons hit my right flank, it's going to be really bloody, and I'm not going to stand for very long. So I want something there as a brick to defend later in the game. Other than that, I've manoeuvred my rays in behind. You remember perhaps they were out on the right here. I've manoeuvred them in behind the skeletons with the spears to help the spears take the frontal charge from cavalry and dragons alike, and give the rays the ability to then run amok behind enemy lines if it can. I've also just moved the mummies up to help support that front line there, and again I have put ghouls up here to form a skirmishing line to help provide something for General Zaz to charge instead of a unit that I don't really want to lose. And the Lycanis is up there in ambush behind that building. On to turn 2, I believe, yes?
Indeed.
Excellent. An onslaught ensued as General Zaz has streamed forwards. Look at what he's doing with his dragons. Explain to me, General Zaz, what you've done with your dragons.
Run away.
Where are your dragons?
My dragons are over here now.
There we are.
Right on the edge of the right flank.
Flanking on my right. They are coming forward. They've got a number of things they can do. They can charge straight into that line there, or they can just stop outside and flame my front line to death there. Also, you'll notice he's arraying cavalry in support of a charge on that flank. So that flank is probably not long to live. Then, what else did we do? We moved forwards with some other stuff. Your Glade Stalkers moved forward as well. Shot.
Yep.
What did they do?
Nothing.
Sadly, missed due to moving and cover. What else shot?
Basically, to sum up the Elven shooting, everything with a bow shot.
Everything with a bow shot.
And the only thing to cause any casualties was this unit here on those skeletons.
Caused 2 wounds on those skeletons. Is that right? Yeah. So, because essentially that was the only unmodified shot you had in the turn.
No, that was still modified. That was just
because they moved.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only one that succeeded.
Yes. Everything else was either shooting through cover, or had moved shooting through cover, or was extreme range and shooting through cover. So everything essentially was hitting on 6s, really. And then you shot at my mummy with 2 units of archers. Again, he's an individual. He's hard to hit, so he still stands and hasn't taken a wound yet. So it's moving forward. The shooting was disappointing, but I think the oblique line that General Zaz has amassed on that there flank is worrying, and is a huge amount of combat power, which I'm going to have to work a way out of dealing with, and which I have not yet worked a way out of dealing with. So we will see at the end of my turn 2. It's my turn 2 next, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is my end of my turn 2 of Undead turn 2. So what happened with movement? I charged a unit of archers that was there. Spoilers there as to what happens later with my mummy. The Revenant on the winged beast charged the bolt thrower that was there, hoping to destroy that and just hopefully roll and get beyond the charge arc of the horrible sea guard that are next to it. I moved up essentially with the ghouls there again to screen my Soul Reavers from the unit of archers there. You know, they might actually be able to shoot the Soul Reavers still. I don't know, because they're bigger, but we'll have to have a look at that one, I guess, see what can hide behind what. The Soul Reavers moved up and turned to address the flank of Commander of General Zaz's army. The werewolves went up in support. The Revenant cavalry went up in support of all of those. So essentially, we're going to try a triple punch. Now, sadly, that's not all going to be at once, like it should be in this game. But I've gone for essentially for the quick way round and avoid the woodland, really, so that I can move further. This is very worrying. This is very concerning with General Zaz's entire force. I mean, really, this is a sideshow. This is the enemy skirmishing force which I'm harrying and sweeping away with what can only be described as a lot of points worth of stuff. Meanwhile, General Zaz's army is swinging round his left, my right, with most of its combat power, and it's arraying all of its combat power to hit my flank. All I can hope is that I've racked up enough stuff, one after the other, to hold until the end of the game, and essentially that is what I've done. I've moved the skeleton spearmen up just a little bit there in front, again to take that charge if it comes, or to take that flame in the face if it comes. Wraiths up there to support them. I've put the ghouls from over there just a little bit to the side and turn them to take the charge, or indeed missile fire from that unit there. So it's chaff against chaff essentially. Mummy's in support there as a hard, tough unit with good armour, and the zombies behind them, which I've now decided to essentially break right, because I'm scared that I'm going to lose that flank. There we go, that's turn 2. On to General Zaz's turn 3, and we'll just see how the board looks at the end of the turn. There we go. End of turn 3 for General Zaz and his elven host, and the trap is sprung. We'll do the quiet things first, shall we?
Yeah.
That happened. So what did you do here? You turned your archers in. You knew that the mummy's coming. There's nothing we can do about that now, so you're just going to let him do that,
the
really.
The mummy is inevitable death.
Absolutely.
To small, fragile, 90-point elven units.
Yeah.
Because the mummy is essentially a great big undead bully and likes to pick on people smaller and weaker.
It's not true. He's very brave. He's right. He's right, Generals. It's true. So, he shot with his elves at my unit of ghouls, which are now on the sideline there, as you'll see. They have been destroyed, rolling well, I think.
Mediocre.
I think you rolled okay.
Next off,
you moved
these guys.
Your sea guard up.
Bravely decided to run out of the line of sight of the evil vampire lord monster.
Yes, my revenant.
So he can't charge them next turn.
Good move. Leaving him pointing in the wrong direction as well.
And instead ran straight forwards towards Andy's evil vampire, undead, evil, scary cavalry.
Yes.
Possibly a frying pan fire situation, but we have spears, so at least we've got a little tiny fire blanket.
You do. You have a little bit. You'll be. You know, you've got a backup there. Okay, so you're.
Oh, bugger. These are meant to have moved 6 forward.
Move them forward. Move them forward. We're okay.
Just there.
We're not playing a tournament today. That's fine. So, okay, so
over here. You see, generosity. This is called sportsmanship behaviour for tournament players. Please pay attention.
Don't tell anyone. So he's moved. He charged forward with his
dragons.
He
did a dual dragon charge,
which was horrific. Hindered through the woods there, but the other one got a good dead bang charge and did something like how many?
They did 5 each.
5 each.
Despite the
10.
hindering.
Yes.
Obviously. Being hindered is a disadvantage, but being painted is an advantage.
Obviously, it helps, yes. So it's 12 in all, because it had 2 already.
Yeah.
I rolled okay on the nerve, so we're okay so far.
So we are whittling down.
Whittling, that's the word, whittling.
Now, at the same time, these guys redeployed to get out of the way and take some pot shots, which failed to do anything.
Sadly.
These have run forwards.
What were they? What they ran forward? They were the Stormwind Cavalry.
These are the
Silver Breeze.
Those
are the Stormwind. They charged into the ghouls, didn't they?
They charged into the ghouls, causing lots of damage.
Yeah. Rolling 5 damage, and you rolled a 5, which was just enough to take them out.
Yep.
Indeed. Excellent. And then he's moved. He shot through the woods with your
Elven archery
glade stalkers and did not much damage.
Correct.
That's right. Good. So did 1 damage with archery from his Star Breeze to my mummy's, however.
Yes.
That was very unfair.
So the general feel is Elven archery isn't really a massive advantage.
But it does do damage, and it does force nerve tests.
Whereas dragons.
That's right.
Dragons hitting things. Good.
Very good. Okay, so that's the end of your turn 3. It's my turn 3 next, isn't it?
Correct.
Good. We'll come back at the end of that. The undead have feasted well in turn 3. Let's see what they've done. You'll notice that this part of my flank is completely empty now. It's essentially devoid of troops as I've moved the entirety of my... But essentially what we've done, if you look, I'm going to go up high. You look at the table, show us with your hands where our main combat power moved. Where did your main combat power move?
Over to here.
That's it. And where did my main combat power move?
Over to here.
Wow, that's the ground. But what about my cavalry? Where have I taken your flank? I went round the other way, didn't I? Yeah. So we've gone through in a giant kind of yin-yang symbol around each other. I had enough combat power there in the end, though, didn't I?
More than.
Yeah, I had a stopping force.
Yeah.
Yeah? You played the refused flank by not putting much there and putting most of your combat power up your left, my right, whereas I placed a stopping force there, which seems to be working at the moment. We'll see in the final turns. The Lycanis, my werewolves, eager for the bones of their enemies, because, you know, they're big shaggy dogs and we love them. Woof woof. And my mummy charged into the final unit of archers, elven archers there. The Soul Reavers, and sadly they're not there anymore, again, spoilers. I went into the Sea Guard there with their spears. Again, not there, and they were wiped out too. Stunning nerve rolls, if I remember correctly. I think we rolled a double 6 for nerve rolls. for
You needed
the archers. Yeah,
So
yeah.
anything bar a +1 on every single nerve test.
A lot of damage was done, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Soul Reavers are nasty. Now, it was a hindered charge. Oh, it wasn't a hindered charge. You were
Wasn't a hindered
phalanxed,
charge.
weren't you?
Yeah, but I had the phalanx.
You had the phalanx rule,
Even
and
so, the one combat where it could have gone 50-50,
yeah.
luck favoured you.
I just rolled well. I just rolled well, and the crushing strength one was enough that the Soul Reavers are left with after the furious charge is taken from them. The werewolves and the mummy, well, that's a good double charge. That's just going to work against the chaff unit. And I moved the Revenant King up to the rear of the enemy army. The dragons here that I was so afraid of, I moved the wraiths over. They jumped from there to there, turned, and then the evil and manipulative Leash King. I threw 12 dice at this, even though they had to go 2 inches. I threw 12. I'm not throwing 8. I'm not throwing 8 at that. 12 dice is what's required to make sure you get 2 inches. That's a life lesson, ladies and gentlemen. That is a life lesson. Ask anyone. Ask anyone. Ask your wonderful and lovely partners about that. And they managed the side charge, the raise into the dragons. See, raiders are okay. They get crushing strength 1, they get 10 attacks, but they're really no real good at hitting on 4+ until they hit the flank of something. So that's what they did. I Bane chanted the spearmen in the hope of allowing them to do some just more damage. Again, it's the multiple charge. It's always doing more than one unit against a unit to break them that I think this game hinges on. The Lycanis that was hiding around the corner, do you remember I hid it around the corner there? Yeah. Charged into your, what was it, your
cavalry.
Your heavy cavalry, wasn't it? With the
mummies. It should have
mummies.
been a hindered charge, actually, but I think we forgot that.
Should it?
Had to charge through there because of where the mummies were.
Well,
but
I think it was still a pretty... I think
it's
it was
much of a muchness. The mummies would have finished them off anyway. Yes,
the mummies also got an unhindered flank charge on that unit, so I think they did enough overall. Easily. The zombies held position there. The Revenant Cavalry also held position. No, actually, I moved them right slightly. There we go. So, yes, and the Lycanis and the mummies together, obviously, that's a lot. That's a lot of crushing strength. No Bane chance necessary there. Wiped out that cavalry. And we'll move back. I didn't actually do their reaction to it, so I will be moving them back before the end of the next turn. That is... So what I've done, I've not secured that flank yet. There's a lot of combat power here. But... it's looking okay. It's looking okay. I'm quietly confident at this point regarding the result. When we're looking at eyes on the prize, as it were. What General Zaz can do is be aware of the objective rules. So you've got to have something within 3 inches of the objective. If you have something as well that's 3 inches of the objective, that's not an individual figure, it's something you're still fighting over, so you don't get any points for it.
Yeah.
So you only get a point if you are the only of your units within 3 inches of an objective. So that's what we're playing for now. So as you see, what I've done is tried to swing the door shut and create a void behind me where it's difficult for him to get to objectives. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in General Zaz's turn 4. That's it. I'll show the board at the end of the turn what that looks like. There we are. End of General Zaz's turn 4. The wholesale slaughter continues. Zaz has not been taken down in morale, in personal morale, since the beating of the last turn. He has hit back hard by charging his spear phalanx, I think, forward into my Lycanis, which held. Didn't do any wounds. Hit back hard.
Hit back hard. Where?
Where he also put his dragon behind my lines.
An undead army is what I've done.
There was some bouncing, admittedly.
There was some bouncing.
Indeed.
What didn't bounce?
Well, you bounced hard. So you hit hard. You hit hard.
I hit medium and bounced back
hard. Maybe I added some of the bounce, perhaps. So yes, he did move forward. Essentially, what he hasn't done is given up. What he's done is moved forward with everything. He shot the heck out of my wraiths,
which will now proceed to kill the units that shot at.
Which should hopefully kill the units shot at. They passed their nerve. The nerve's not good, but they passed it nonetheless by about 2 points. That was lucky.
Yeah.
He also shot the hell out, well, breath weaponed with his dragon, my skeleton spear unit, which held by 1 point on the reroll.
Indeed, it did.
So that was good. That was very lucky for me. I think a 23 nerve normally, so that was lucky. He shot, as I say, he shot with essentially everything. He had the glazed stalkers in the woods there, his cavalry there. Anything else he shot with? I'm sure he shot with... Oh, the cavalry that are in the ruins there as well. They shot the mummies and failed to kill anything. The wizards, oh true, the wizards fireball. What did they fireball? The wraiths, and did 4 points of damage overall, because the wraiths have got very good armour.
4 units shoot at the wraiths,
yes,
which caused a total of 4 points of damage.
I think it's because they're incorporeal, you know. I think that's what it is. Yeah, yeah. I think that's why. So that is essentially. I mean, there's nothing left there on that flank now, so I'm severely securing that flank. So that is the end of General Zaz's turn 4. I've lost 2 units so far, I think you were remarking, and you've lost
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes, and some of them quite good units, sadly. So the tide is possibly turning onto my turn 4. Get a view of the battlefield before we finish. Yes, onto my turn 4. End of the Undead turn 4. Essentially all quiet on the left of my line here. The werewolves need to stay there to secure that objective. We decided that though you can enter these ruins, which we decided at the beginning, you still have to have line of sight for a charge, and we decided this very high wall here would prevent my soul beavers that were over there actually charging the unit of Starbreeze cavalry that was in there. So instead, what they've done is come down here into the woods. Can you see the little glowing pyre of energy in there? So the Soul Reavers are currently securing that objective, and of course staying there to look after any nasty surprises sprung by that dragon. My Revenant cavalry had to turn further than it would normally, so it couldn't charge, but then my Necromancer surged it into the dragon. It only did 6 points of damage and failed to waver the dragon. So disappointing, but hey ho, it still did damage, and we're still starting to drain damage from the dragon. The zombies who charged Starbreeze cavalry in the ruins there, they could see they even had a door to enter. Look at that, generals. They were able to go and do a minimal number of amount of damage, but it's only a light cavalry regiment, so the 6 wounds that they did do
all they needed
was enough to break them. So that was a good use of zombies, to be honest. The Lycanis and my Revenant, who hasn't used his Surge this game, he's just flown around being a monster and being annoying, was annoying once again, rear-charging the units of spears there. The combined attacks from the Lycanis and the Revenant, you know, times 3 attacks, it's 9, it was 27, is it? My terrible maths. Attacks, a crushing strength 3 was enough to destroy that unit of spears. I moved forward. Now, what was it that was sitting there?
Just some light cavalry.
So light cavalry was charged by, because essentially it's the last hurrah of these skeleton infantry. It's not doing anything now. It's got so much damage. Look at the damage. Come on, look at the damage, generals. That's lords, ladies and gentlemen. That is too much. So they're going to die no matter what. So I thought, well, it doesn't matter. I'll present my rear to the dragon. However, there is a guy there who he might favour charging. We'll see what happens there. We might chaff out with him. The wraiths also win in that combat. Both life leech to point back. The wraiths looking a little bit more healthy there, a little bit more in the fight. Have turned to face back towards the battlefield, but also to be able to deal with the unit of. Are these spears there?
Yeah, no, they are Palace Guard.
Palace Guard, the elite Palace Guard.
Yep.
My mummies charged into the woods, thinking that they would easily best the lone wizard, and I bounced off him. Essentially, I did some wounds to him, so at least he can't cast magic in the next turn. But
why?
It's considered a missile weapon.
Right.
And you can't, you can't do a missile weapon in a turn that you've been injured in melee combat. So, but he still has one of those left. I think he still has a wizard left and lots of shooting with that unit. So we'll see what he does with that. That is the end of my. So essentially, I'm sitting down doing this bit at turn 4 because it's all happening in this small quarter of the board. Okay, good. So on to General Zaz's turn 5. End of General Zaz's turn 5. I don't need these wavered counters very much this game. It's just been killing, hasn't it? It's been
carnage.
That's it. Grounded though the dragon was, it did have the arc to charge my wraiths in this corner in a head-on charge, which was supported by his Sea Guard elite infantry, fighting to the last. The elves are. What else happened? Yes, you countercharged my mummies with your wizard. Very, very brave, I think. Anything else happened?
Yes.
Oh, you shot?
I shot a lot of magic and bows at the skeleton unit. Which
was still held.
Yeah, done nothing.
It actually required inspiring. Reroll.
Yeah,
but they did hold. They did hold. So that's essentially it for your turn 5.
And yeah, I wiped off.
And wiped the raids off. The hideous.
Raids.
We hate the raids.
We do.
Even I don't. Even I feel dirty using them. Okay, my turn 5, and we'll probably call it there because the shop's closing. They're being really nice to us to let us stay this long. So here we are at the end of the game. The end of the game, Generals. So we count up. It is not about what we lose and what we win. It is about the objectives we've taken. So I have luckily been able to take hold of an objective there with a horde securing that, an objective there with a horde, with a regiment of soul weavers taking that. Do you know I didn't take that one?
Nope.
The easiest one I didn't take because there's nothing within 3 inches of it. The zombies are a bit further in there. We didn't move it in there. We're assuming that they're in there.
Yeah, they could make that.
It did. They did. They're actually they've been in that unit since the combat. We just didn't put the base in there. So they are securing that objective. General Zaz has the one objective there, I think, and I think that's the lot, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Because I haven't anything within 3 inches of that one. Other than that, essentially, I just charged. I charged. I turned the skeletons and then surged them into the back of the dragon. I moved forward and turned with the mummies and then surged those into the back of the Sea Guard. I turned those about to move in turn 6. We won't play turn 6 because essentially we've come to an end now. But I turned them back so that they could make a move towards the objective. They still wouldn't get there though. And then that's it. That's all we do. I chaffed the Lycanis out. Put him in the middle of there. That's all right. And I charged the wizard with my Revenant King and killed him as well. So there we go. That's the end of the battle. So we see undead victory. There are some difficulties, I think, with handling the surge. Would you say? Do you think that's the?
I think my lack of experience of handling.
That's true. We're very inexperienced generals in this game. It's a game we're still learning, although we do love it. But I think surge works for the inexperienced person better than the inexperienced person working against it in a way.
I agree.
It's a very useful.
It feels very right though.
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Elven cavalry.
Great.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Palace Guard are great.
Yes.
And dragons are.
I'm not sure about dragons.
I actually think.
Yeah.
The flexibility and the fact that they have a way of damaging everything in the game relatively well. One dragon isn't worth it. Too easy a target.
So is that too many points for 2 dragons, though, do you think?
I disagree. No, I think having the 2 running together, both of them having inspiring on each other, although it didn't come into play much today, I think that's actually pretty good. I think dragons and cavalry together with a few wizards for extra firepower and to basically make sure you're always hitting things on force.
So you're talking about a very mobile, very hard-hitting army for success with the elves.
Yeah.
A lot of people choose gun lines with them, and I don't think that works. I think it can work, but I don't think you win many games with that if you're taking objectives, etc.
I think an elven gun line would consist of cavalry and dragons and wizards with a few guns sitting at the back.
Yes,
and the
like
majority
catapults
of the
and
work
things.
would be done
Yeah.
when the cavalry, dragons and wizards defend the gun line.
I think you're right.
The gun line taking units out.
So there we go. As the sun sets, the undead take the ash waste. Do you see ash waste? It's not green, it's an ash waste. The undead take the ash wastes. They take the magical... It's not a very good party, however, because there's only a few live people there. Essentially, it's a necromancer with a few ghouls, and it's vampires, they're party animals, aren't they? But other than that, and the werewolves, are they
Surely
alive?
the werewolves are party animals.
I bet they are party animals. So, okay, a better party than I thought. A better party than I thought. So as the sun sets and the necromancers feast upon the magical power, as well as the blood of the fallen elves, we come to a close. So, whoever you lead, whatever army you are in, keep under your queen and king, and keep warming.